The gatekeepers, they're real, but they're not quite what you think. Let's get into understanding how we can get through these gatekeepers and actually tap into who you truly are and materialize and manifest the things that you desire. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, the study of spirituality. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious, available both on Amazon. The gatekeepers. When we think about gatekeepers, we think about individuals, we think about entities, things that are preventing you from accessing the heavens that are beyond the gates. Understanding that, hey, I want to gain access to this space, to this ability, to this experience. But we believe that there are things, people, right, preventing us from actually doing that. Well, the thing is, those entities, those things, those people, they're not literally people. They're not literally entities with the sole purpose and existence of stopping you. They're far more deeper than that and far more closer than you think. Let me tell you a story. So recently I just ran a marathon. And the one thing about my experience with running this marathon is that this is not about me telling you train hard, work hard, da. This was really about understanding the power of being alone. The power of recognizing how strong I am. Now, I got this recognition from the experience and after the experience. Now, when we set out to do challenges like a marathon, we think about the physical aspects of the challenge, right? Training, the physical training, being prepared. But we rarely ever think and give ourselves credit for the actual mental and spiritual and emotional training that it entails. So I ran this marathon. This is my first marathon that I've ever ran, full marathon. I ran 3 half marathons previously. This was my first full marathon. So it is quite a big deal. And I went to this marathon by myself, literally woke up in the morning, drove to the marathon in my car alone, wondering, is this a good idea that I do this alone? Right? And then just realizing, well, it is what it is. I'm going to just actually push through this and make it happen all on my own. Most times when people run marathons, they're either running in a group, they have some kind of partner, spouse, family members to be there to at least cheer them on. And that really helps to inspire, to motivate, right? To keep you focused because you don't want to look bad in front of these people and you don't want to let them down. Now, for me, though, that wasn't an option for me that was on the table. So I simply just was only concerned about making sure that I can push through this thing and that I'm not one of these people that passes out, right, in the middle of the marathon. Because the last half marathon that I ran, I swear, I've ran past maybe 4 or 5 people who couldn't make it. They passed out. The ambulance came and got them. And so I'm like, wow, okay. And they were like really close to the end. So it allowed me to really recognize that, okay, I'm doing well. You know, when I was running those half marathons, I was like, okay, I'm doing well. Now, to run a half marathon, to run a marathon, for me, I'm not caught up in the time, right? Some people really are trying to be the first one to pass the finish line. Okay, if that is what you do, you know, you're at that age where you're like really focused and dialed into your fitness and you want to be a professional marathon runner, that is great. But most people run the marathon to simply have that, you know, that landmark in your life, that recognition within yourself to say, this is what I did. Okay. It is one of those bucket list items that we all want. So I get to this marathon and really the only thing I'm concerned about is, okay, if I pass out, am I going to be okay? Right? If I pass out and the ambulance comes and picks me up, takes me to the hospital. What am I gonna do about my car? Where's my like like is my car gonna get towed if I'm in the hospital for too long and haven't picked up my car? So I'm thinking about all these things, right? And that's because I'm alone. Now, running the marathon. First half of the marathon, you have all these people cheering you on, right? People you don't know. And you see these people holding signs and balloons and, they have all these, means of communicating and supporting the person that they're there for, you know? And so you're running through and you're seeing all these people. You're seeing little groups, little fitness, run groups and things of that nature. Now, I'm not part of a run group technically that I really am involved with. So they weren't for me really. Though in that kind of environment, yes, you're supporting everybody who's participating in the run, but they weren't directly my people, if you know what I mean. So running this marathon, the first half is great. I've ran half marathons before, so I was prepared for that. But the second half was a new experience for me. And one thing I did notice that second half is all of the crowds that were gathered, that were cheering in the first half of the marathon, they were not there for the second half. Okay. Not only that, but the people who were running the half marathon, okay, or should I say the people who were running the full marathon were far less in number than those running the half marathon. So what does that say? That means that once you hit that half marathon mark, you will definitely find yourself more isolated, more alone than before. So you have to understand that this process of running this marathon is one of recognizing like, hey, all right, I'm already coming into this alone. That's fine. I've done run before by myself. But now I am going past my own threshold, my own experience, and pushing through, right? And I'm pushing through feeling this sense of isolation because nobody else is with me, and because I'm not a professional runner, I'm not running this full marathon in like 3.5 hours, right? In 3 hours, whatever. So my objective is just to make it through. And I'm just telling myself, and I was prepared, just one step in front of the other and hop. Basically, that's what running is, right? You're hopping and you're moving forward 1 foot at a time until you get to the destination, which is the finish line. Now, it gets to the point where, okay, I know I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get there. But I got other parts of my body that are sore. My knees are getting sore, things of that nature. My feet is getting sore. It's starting to get warm out. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm going to push through this. I'm going to push through this. Then towards the end of the finish line, you have people cheering you on. You have people who are, again, with their group, their tribe, and they're cheering on particular individuals. Okay. Didn't have that. So in a weird way, it was encouraging to see because I can feel like, or I can trick myself into believing or thinking that they're cheering me on. So that gave me a little bit of oomph. But also, another part of me knew that I was lying to myself and that they weren't for me. So it created another sense of being alone. Now, finally getting to the finish line, crossing that line. You usually cross that line with somebody on the other side waiting for you. And there was no one, okay, for me. The only person really that I was looking for was a person that was going to pass me my medal, okay, and a bottle of water and a banana. That's all I was really looking for because I knew that was all that I was doing it for was that and the experience. So once I did that, I was able to sit down and just relax and sit there for as long as I could until I was ready to get up and go to my car. Okay. Now, why do I share with you this experience? The lone journey is one of strength. It is one of being the true epitome of power. We go through this life thinking that we need other people alongside us, that we need people with us, that we need a single person with us throughout this life. But that is not the case. Now, connection, intimacy, bonds, friendships, those are very important, but they are not necessary for your fulfillment, for your success, and for your happiness. When we start putting our happiness and fulfillment on the backs of other people, thinking that another person is going to make you happy, bring joy to your life, then you begin to lose the battle. Okay. So the gatekeeper ultimately is not outside of you. The gatekeeper into heaven, the experience of fulfillment and joy and enlightenment, is within. So now you have to think about owning your path, right? Means essentially facing your fears. Okay. It means to truly tap into your power. That comes from solitude. That comes from self-mastery. Now, most times when people sign up for an event, to sign up to do something, to initiate, to take the leap, most times we want somebody by our side, right? Because why? We fear maybe looking silly because we're trying something new. We fear going into a new environment, a new space, going into a new group, a new tribe of people who are already established in that space. And so we feel a sense of insecurity. We feel a sense of doubt, inadequacy, because we are new to it, meaning we are like babies in that thing. And so we are insecure. We're looking for a mother figure, a father figure, even if it is somebody who has the same sense of skill level as you do and experience as you do. You still want somebody to hold your hand. That is because you do not realize how powerful you are. When you start to do something alone, something as simple as even going to the movies by yourself, you walk out of that experience with a sense of empowerment. Why? Because usually something that is often experienced with other people now gives you new meaning, new life, when you know you can experience it on your own. You can experience it on your own from the standpoint of recognizing that, hey, I don't need other people's opinions. I don't need other people's validation, right? I have that within myself. And once you recognize you can have the experience all by yourself, the experience becomes something enlightening. Because now the experience is not just some random event, but it's a recognition that you have the power to actually take this journey alone, which essentially in many ways we are already doing. You know, a lot of people make the statement, we are born alone and we die alone. There's much truth to that statement. We are constantly at a state where we are alone. Why? Because we are in our own minds. We are experiencing this universe from our own consciousness. You see, we are experiencing everything from your perspective. You can never step into the perspective of another individual. You can try to put your feet in their shoes, right? But it is still your feet that's in their shoes. So you have to recognize you are still isolated within the experience of you, which, though may seem heavy, it is power in that because you recognize you are the creator of this reality that you're experiencing. So the most important thing about understanding that the gatekeeper is really you, right? You eliminate the illusion of external authority. Okay. You understand that many seek this sense of validation and direction from outside of themselves. They want some level of assurance that it's okay. But when you begin to gain a glimpse that The lone journey, the mindful lone journey, is one of power, is one of owning your path as your path. Then there is no quest, there is no desire for other people to validate anything. You don't need to explain yourself. All you need to do is walk your path. Okay? Real power, it begins when you stop outsourcing your truth. It begins when you are recognizing that you are the only authority of your reality. You see? So embracing solitude is strength. That's what this is all about. Many of us, we're looking for our soulmate, our twin flame, right? Our life partner. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I want you to understand, though, is even when you have a life partner, a soulmate, a twin flame, you are still alone, essentially. It is not up to you to validate your path, your walk through that individual. Okay? So you have to embrace this solitude of the spirit. Loneliness versus being alone are two different things. Okay? One drains you, but the other one empowers you. So when you acknowledge being alone in your spiritual journey, then you gain power, you gain insight, right? You gain true agency. So recognize that the solitude will reveal who you really are. When you take time away from technology, social media, and just sit with oneself, and you allow yourself to be, okay? The solitude will reveal all that is beneath the roles, beneath the noise, beneath the distractions, and beneath the conditioning. That is what you want, because then you understand that all those things are distractions. They are keeping you away from your empowered point of view and understanding, your empowered truth and reality. You see, your path becomes clear when no one else is walking it with you. When other people are walking with you, for example, when you go to the movies, when you go to the park, when you go to an event, you are having your experience. You might be enjoying the experience, and you should be. You should be enjoying every single experience, because if you're in the present moment of that experience, there is only joy. But you find that when you are alongside somebody else, if they are not on the same frequency, if they are not living with the same intention of being present and in the moment, they are going to shift your experience by inputting their experience, especially if it is a negative point of view. So you have to understand that being alone is oftentimes the best for you to experience joy, to experience happiness, to actually have a good time in your life. So I want you to embrace being alone, because being alone means that you gain power over yourself. When we are not alone, we are often distracted, and we're often putting a lot of energy, consideration, time, effort, blood, sweat, tears into another individual. And like I said before, to a certain degree, there's nothing wrong with that. Connections, intimacy, romance, love, friendships, vitally important. But please do not let them define you or sway you away from the most important romance, relationship, bond, or intimacy there is, which is with oneself, which is with you. Okay? Now, as you go through this journey, you'll find that the gatekeeper spreads out, it extends itself out to many gatekeepers. Gatekeepers such as fear, such as doubt, such as even shame. Okay? Now, these are not your enemies. They are just simply tests. They're just simply things, signals, alerts to just bring your awareness that something is off here. Okay. Your ability to tap into your higher self depends on you being able to identify these things and recognize their purpose, right? They simply guard the entrance of your higher self. They are the guardians. Now, this is the thing. It is only with facing them do you get to actually pass and enter the gates. So all the fear, all the doubt, all the insecurity, all the shame, all the guilt, those are the gatekeepers. And you must face each one of them in order for you to be allowed through the gate. All right? This is not about them punishing you. This is just simply about you facing your true self in order to become your true self. Okay? Facing yourself to become yourself is the key to fulfillment, the key to happiness. Self-confrontation is self-liberation. When you recognize that the only way you're going to liberate yourself and free yourself and experience the beauty of life, experience heaven here on earth, is by confronting those aspects, those gatekeepers. And until you face yourself, you cannot lead yourself. You see, we're talking about different layers of the self, different aspects of the self. But ultimately, this is about relationship with oneself, with who you are, and dealing with all the quote unquote negative aspects of that self and facing them. When you face them, then they transform into something else. Okay. Power is owned through inner alignment. You are the ruler of your universe. This is very important. Once you pass, right, the gatekeeper, guess what? You become the gate, and you become all that is within the gate, which is heaven. That is all we are seeking. That is all we desire. That is all we are intended to achieve in this journey. So be mindful that this is not about you accessing something that isn't yours. This is about you accessing you, the truth. Okay? So allow yourself to enter that gate. Confront the gatekeeper. Confront yourself. Confront your fear. Confront your doubt, your insecurities. Walk through the fire. Okay? Be forged by the fire. Walk out of the fire a different person. Walk out of the fire your true self, right? The real person that you are. Heaven isn't a place, okay? It's a state of being that you reach through self-mastery. And I want you to understand the significance of this. All of the things that we are seeking in life are not outside of you. They are within. And you master that by spending time alone, being with yourself, loving yourself, caring for yourself, treating yourself as your best friend because you are. Bowing down to yourself, the divine within you, recognizing that within you is God. You are the physical manifestation of that which we call the source, infinite intelligence. So recognize that everything is already there within you. And when you do that, then there is nothing that will hinder you, stop you, prevent you from achieving all that you desire. Thank you so much. Feel free, go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.